Uh, Abstract brainwaves, game genie in a beanie. We ain't on the same stage, leveled up. The epitome of technique, can't survive in my current thought.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. And let's talk GameStop. We've always been talking GameStop here on the internet and on this channel, and it hasn't always been positive. A lot of people's experience at GameStop has been this. We used to have game stores that, you could come and get games like Funko Land, EB Games, Babbage's, and while those stores may have had their own quirks and things that you may have had issues with, they're no longer around. So who's the king of the hill now? It's GameStop. That's all that's left. And if those guys aren't there, you're pretty much left with sources like GameFly, to rent games, your local video stores, if they, are close to you. But what most people are doing are still going to Best Buy, Walmart, Target, places like that for their games. What's happened is, over time, digital games have been on the rise, and those prices are undercutting what GameStop sells for. Why is all that important? Well, for the simple fact that you might buy a game for $60, trade it back to GameStop because you're done with it, you didn't like it, whatever. They're like, yeah, we'll give you $10, and then turn around and you see that same game that you just traded in for $10, they're selling it for $54.99. Now you're like, well, that's not fair. I understand, I've been there. Your best bet is to take those games and maybe sell them on eBay or some third-party site, something like that, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, and maybe get what's fair for you. I'd say a $60 game, you trade it in, I'd like them to give me $35 at minimum for that, but that might be what you just get in for trade. So that reputation has soured for some gamers and consumers just alike. And all in all, the digital market has been on the rise. You've got a PS5 and a Xbox Series X version that's are both digital only, meaning you can't play the physical disc. Well, the physical discs hold a lot of weight for people still because these systems, they take up so much space, and the more limited space you have, the less games you can store on the system. So if you're thinking, oh, well, digitally I have so much, yeah, that's going to eat up. Whereas if you have the disc, you might save some space. How much, that depends on what game it is. That being said, I give you that whole backstory to tell you this. All of that has affected GameStop's stock market prices to where over the years you've seen a steady decline, change in management, and the amount of stores opened that are now closed, different practices they do to get customers in the stores. I mean, you can go on and on and on. The pandemic that's ongoing has affected GameStop with less people being able to come in the stores to trade in games because they may have to clean these games, all kinds of stuff that's already hurting a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy. Well, part two of this video, and this whole thing is to educate people who are wondering what's going on, because I myself have been trying to figure it out and get more into the stock market. But this is really what's happening. This is what you clicked on minus the backstory. With GameStop losing stock constantly, you've got these hedge funds. These, this ain't Wolf of Wall Street, but think about that hunger where people like wolves, where they were just like, look, I don't mean actual wolves, but yeah, where they were just like, look, I bet on these guys to fail, and I'm going to pull this money or whatever out and make this other person that I'm working with on this hedge fund more money. Well, the stock prices dropped so much for GameStop that a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, or whatever, you could have, for a few bucks, got a couple of shares. Now it just ain't happening. Well, what actually happened? So let's look at this graphic here, because they break it down better and faster than I could in this rambling video. GameStop's stock price has increased from $39 to $380 in 1 week. That is 874%. But why? That's what people are asking. Well, it's been shorted by the hedge funds, which I just explained. And which, if you want to know what these hedge funds are, it's basically you being able to, with enough money, hire some kind of investor, like, some company, to manage your money and invest it in certain things. And they will bet against companies that they think are going to do bad. AMC is going to do bad. Why? People ain't going to the movies. American Airlines, you expect they're going to do bad. Why? People aren't traveling as much, especially during this pandemic. Well, if the stock shortens so much, that opens the door for us common folk to buy stock. But you're losing every day. Well, if enough people buy, that hurts the people who then sold the stock. And that's what happened here. Continuing on, by short selling a stock, hedge funds are betting that the price of the stock will go down. What I just said, right? Hedge funds wanted GameStop to file for bankruptcy so that their short positions would profit. That's what they wanted. But a group of 3 million plus retail investors, regular people like these folks on Reddit, then they're known as the Wall Street Bets. What is Wall Street Bets? It's a subreddit on reddit.com. That's pretty much its own thread. And pretty much in that group, these people are discussing who we should, invest our money in. And when I say we, I mean other people who are on there, and try to get some of this money like these rich guys are. So they all teamed up to buy the GameStop stock, like I said, and together they have the power to buy and hold the stock to run the price higher and higher. So they're just going to stay and not sell and just let that stock keep going. Why? Because people like you who may be interested, may be watching this and want to get in on the action, but can you? We'll get to that in a second. So I posted this up on Facebook, and a lot of people had stuff to say. Some people are very quiet. They don't share their investing knowledge. And what's really sad is when my stepfather passed, he had some of these mutual funds, hedge funds, whatever. And it made me aware that, hey, at that age that he's at now, I'm nowhere near where I need to be financially to, if something were to happen to me, have assets like that to leave behind, or at least to take advantage of. So I've got to get my knowledge up. Hence this video, because when I learn something, I like to share it with other people. But when people learn stuff with money, they tend not to share. Look back years ago, right? Let's just take video games, for example, because this is a video game channel mostly. If you wanted to learn how to beat a certain game because it was tough, Ninja Gaiden, for example, Ninja Gaiden, whatever, 1-800, blah, 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 $2 a minute, you're calling some hotline. Then it went to buy the magazine. Now that we have the internet in a more, streamlined manner, you don't have to do any of that anymore. But that hurt those jobs. They're gone now, and they kind of took advantage. These guys got rich for just telling you something that the value of it wasn't that serious to me even then. But now it's like that should have been free. So maybe this investor knowledge, hey, everybody can't be rich, because if everybody's rich, then the word rich doesn't mean anything, right? It's not applicable. So I feel that's why a lot of these folks keep that knowledge to themselves. But it's exploiting, it's on the back of the common person's dollar. You want to invest in GameStop now? Well, you got the 300 something odd dollars, and it's probably more than that as of this video. But that's what's so disgusting about it, and is that for so long, people have been exploiting companies, not just GameStop, but that's just one recent example. But right now, the market is right because of the situation the whole world is in. But they've been doing that for as long as the market has been viable. People have been exploiting these things and making quick, easy dollars off of people. Meanwhile, they don't really, I don't know what they do when they're not day trading or anything else, but to say that's a full-time job, I'm not gonna argue that it's not. But to predict people's downfall, that Schadenfreude, I don't respect it. I don't. I'm sorry. So while that's just my opinion, let's get back to the facts here. So hedge fund managers who shorten the stock are losing money when the stock moves higher. The only way to close a short position is to buy the shares at a now inflated price. This process is known as a short squeeze. So if you want to get back those shares that you sold, well, you're out of luck because of what's happening here. So some people try to get in, sell something, and then may come back to it later when they suspect something's hot. That's not really going to happen here. And it allows some opportunities for GameStop, who their business is now like, well, we've got so much more people investing in this now, which means more money. What do we do with it? But they're not completely dumb. And that's not to insult them and say that they're dumb. It's just that they know what I'm telling you, which is that's not sustainable. Some people feel like, hey, we're going to ride this all the way up to the moon. Yeah, but what has GameStop offered differently? What have they changed about their company that should have your confidence that this is something safe for your money? It's not. Trust me. It's going to crash, and you need to go ahead and cash out when you can, however you can, when you think it's met its, its peak. That's the game. That's what I have to learn as a stock person. That's what I'm trying to educate you on. You've got to learn these tricks and trades too. Lots of videos and information out here, but these guys don't really, they don't give you that psychology. They don't give you, they tell you this is what this is what they identify things, but you have to be willing to take that risk. Are you willing to lose money to learn? And I guess I am at this point, but I'm not willing to lose everything to learn. And there should be people out here pulling you up saying, invest in this and see what happens. You lose a little bit, but you don't lose everything. Now take what you've actually won if you got anything and spread that out, sprinkle it out. This is harvest time. And I'm not trying to sound like a prosperity preacher. I think that's what I'm actually sounding like right here and now. But that's what's going on. So the hedge funds will buy from shares from retail investors as they transfer money from Wall Street to individual Redditors trading with Robinhood accounts. This is a targeted plan, not a random price action. So because they're manipulating it, this has exploited a huge, I don't even want to call it a loophole because, it could be done. It's just that now we can communicate with a bunch of people and convey the same idea. And maybe the rich guys have done this for so long, right? Look at what happened in politics earlier last year, I should say, when people knew about the corona. Some of these guys start dumping off stock. And did they get in trouble? I have yet to hear about it. You've heard their names and different things of people who've done stuff like that, taking advantage and making other people poorer in the process. But those guys are already rich. They've got lawyers and stuff. They can get away with it. But what about the common man? Are all of those people going to get in trouble for trying to do something similar? I don't know. But what I do know is this, and that's the end of the information on this image. What I do know is more news has come out. Here's a current image of GameStop now. Over $400 and something. But what you don't see in this picture is that it's been suspended. That's right. Webull, which is what I used. Robinhood, which is what a lot of people have been using for its, it's more user-friendly based or user-friendly. It's more of a user-friendly app and interface. They suspended it. So the irony is Robinhood saying trading should be free and this, that, and the third, but then they went ahead and suspended stuff. Why? They succumbed to the pressure of these guys in these hedge funds that say, oh, this isn't fair, we're losing money, da, 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 da. No, you've been doing this to people for so long, and now the shoe's on the other foot. What are you going to do? You're going to complain, and we'll see. Hopefully, if you invested in GameStop, you're able to do what you want to do with it. But day trading last night was there, and although this is a gaming channel, not a stock channel, I'm bringing it up because it's GameStop and it's dealing with video games, and I gave you more than your share. This is a very important video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, because some of you watching, this may not apply to you because you're young and don't have this knowledge, but maybe you get older and you see this, you'll be able to say, oh, I remember in history when this guy in this yellow hat rambled on about it. Now I kind of got an idea of what was going on, A, in that time, and two, what I can do to learn and go out and find things for myself. So I'm going to actually read up on some stock stuff for right now to educate myself better and further, because one of my regrets now is last night I could have invested more into GameStop and did not. And now I can't. I don't have that opportunity. I could have put a little bit more. It went over $100 from last night when I saw it to now. I could have just put in and made a little extra money just by dumping in $300-400, but was scared to. Scared money don't win. That's something that my stepdad also would say. Scared money don't win. You got to be willing to risk it to get the biscuit. That's what the saying is. So that being said, I'm going to stop talking about this here. We may revisit it later. Hopefully you guys stay safe, stay warm. It actually snowed here, 60 degrees yesterday. Snow outside today. So I'm going to get, yeah, that's why the yellow hat's different. But I'm going to get off here. I'm going to hit you back with some more videos. Stay tuned. We got some more content on the way. There's just so many games that I have yet to play that I'm trying to just play and figure out if they're worthy of the recording for the channel. See you in the next one. Other Yellow Hat Guy out. Captain Sensation!